Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into a topic that affects us all, the types of people who make our lives more difficult than they need to be. Now, let's get real here. We all have those individuals in our orbit who, whether they mean to or not, just seem to suck the life right out of us. They leave us feeling exhausted, frustrated, and sometimes even questioning our own sanity. It's like they have this invisible siphon, and your precious energy, your get up and go, your peace of mind, well, it's what they're taking. And if you're not careful, if you don't recognize the patterns, you can find yourself running on empty, wondering why you're so tired and stressed all the time. It's not about labeling people or being unkind, not at all. This is about self-preservation, folks. It's about understanding the dynamics at play so you can protect your own well-being and make conscious choices about who you allow to influence your energy field. Think about it. Your energy is your currency for living a full, vibrant life. You wouldn't just hand over your wallet to anyone who asked, would you? So why do we so often allow others to deplete our most vital resource without a second thought? It's time to wake up and smell the coffee, as they say, and identify these energy-draining behaviors so we can navigate our relationships more effectively and keep our own tanks full. Today we're going to break down 8 specific types of people whose behaviors can be particularly draining. We'll look at what makes them tick, how their actions impact us, and most importantly, start thinking about how we can manage these interactions without losing ourselves in the process. Because you deserve to feel energized, you deserve to feel respected, and you deserve to have relationships that lift you up, not drag you down. So if you're ready to take back control of your energy and learn how to spot these draining dynamics, then you are in the right place. Let's get to it, because this is important stuff. All right, let's kick things off with our first energy drainer, the overcommitter. Now, these are the folks who say yes to everything, every project, every invitation, every request for help. They're on it, or at least they say they are. On the surface, it might even seem admirable, like they're super enthusiastic or incredibly generous with their time. But here's the problem, and it's a big one. They take on far more than any one human being could possibly handle effectively. They're juggling a dozen balls in the air, and sooner or later, those balls are going to start dropping, and guess who might be underneath when they do? It's often the people relying on them. This isn't just about being a little disorganized. It's a pattern that creates a ripple effect of stress and frustration for everyone around them. Because when the overcommitter inevitably fails to deliver, or delivers late, or provides something subpar because they were stretched too thin, it impacts timelines, it impacts quality, and it impacts morale. You find yourself constantly chasing them for updates, redoing work they couldn't complete, or managing the fallout from their broken promises. That takes a huge toll on your energy, your time, and your patience. You're essentially picking up the slack for their inability to set realistic boundaries or to accurately assess their own capacity. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. You just keep pouring your energy in and it keeps draining out. Next up we have the drama queen or king. Oh boy, you know these individuals. They seem to have a knack for turning even the most mundane situation into a full-blown theatrical production. There's always a crisis, always a conflict, always some heightened emotional turmoil swirling around them. They don't just experience life, they broadcast it with the volume turned up to 11, complete with exaggerated reactions and a narrative that positions them right at the heart of every storm. It's as if they feed off the attention and the emotional intensity that drama provides, and if there isn't any readily available, they're quite adept at stirring some up. Dealing with a drama queen or king is like being on a constant emotional roller coaster, and you didn't even buy a ticket for the ride. Their crises become your crises. Their anxieties become your anxieties. You get pulled into their narratives, often finding yourself trying to calm them down, offer solutions, or just listen to the endless sagas. This is incredibly draining because you're expending significant emotional energy on situations that are often exaggerated, self-created, or simply not your problem to solve. They thrive on the uproar, but it leaves everyone else feeling depleted, on edge, and wondering when the next emergency will erupt. It's exhausting trying to navigate that constant state of high alert and emotional intensity. Now, let's talk about the perfectionist. On the surface, striving for excellence sounds like a good thing, right? And in many ways it can be. But there's a line, and the perfectionist often crosses it, venturing into territory where their standards become so unrealistically high that they're not just difficult to meet, they're virtually impossible. This isn't about producing high-quality work, it's about an obsessive need for flawlessness that can paralyze progress and create a boatload of stress for anyone collaborating with them or working under their direction. They can get so bogged down in minute details that the bigger picture gets lost and projects stall or take infinitely longer than necessary. The energy drain here comes from the constant pressure and criticism, both stated and unstated. You might find yourself redoing tasks multiple times to meet their ever-shifting or overly meticulous criteria, feeling like nothing you do is ever good enough. Their fear of imperfection can stifle creativity, because who wants to propose a new idea if it's just going to be picked apart for not being flawless from the get-go? It can lead to micromanagement, frustration, and a feeling of walking on eggshells. Instead of fostering an environment of growth and achievement, their brand of perfectionism often breeds anxiety and resentment, sucking the joy and motivation right out of the process for everyone involved. Chapter 4. The Control Freak, My Way or the Highway. Alright, let's tackle the control freak. These are the individuals who have an overwhelming need to dictate and manage every single aspect of a situation, a project, or even the people around them. It's not just about wanting things organized, it's about an insistence that everything must be done their way, according to their plan and within their specific parameters. They often struggle with delegation, not because others are incapable, but because they don't trust anyone else to execute tasks to their exacting and often rigid specifications. This need for control can stem from anxiety or a deep-seated fear of uncertainty, but its impact on others is undeniably draining. When you're dealing with a control freak, you can feel stifled, disempowered, and micromanaged. Your own ideas, creativity, and autonomy are often dismissed or overridden, not because they lack merit, but simply because they deviate from the control freak's predetermined script. This can be incredibly frustrating and demoralizing, leading to a sense of helplessness or a reluctance to even contribute, because what's the point if it's just going to be changed or controlled anyway? You spend a lot of energy either trying to conform to their demands, subtly resisting their control, or navigating the tension that their inflexibility creates. It's like trying to dance when someone else is rigidly dictating every single step. There's no room for your own rhythm. Chapter 5. The Negative Nancy or Ned, the Cloud of Pessimism. Now let's shine a light on the Negative Nancy or Negative Ned. These are the folks who seem to have a permanent rain cloud hovering over their heads, and they're more than willing to share the downpour. No matter how positive a situation might be, they'll find the downside, the potential problem, the reason why it won't work or why it's not as good as it seems. They're quick to criticize, complain, and predict failure, often before anything has even had a chance to get off the ground. Their worldview is typically colored by pessimism, and they can suck the optimism and enthusiasm right out of a room. The energy drain from a negative Nancy is insidious. Their constant negativity can be contagious, subtly shifting your own perspective towards the bleak. You might find yourself feeling down or disheartened after interacting with them, even if you were feeling upbeat before. Trying to counter their pessimism with positivity can feel like an uphill battle, as they often seem determined to remain in their negative space, and they can quash good ideas with their that'll never work attitude and lower the morale of an entire group. It's exhausting to constantly be around someone who sees the worst in everything and everyone, and it takes a conscious effort to protect your own positive outlook from being eroded by their gloom. Chapter 6. The Gossip Spreading Seeds of Distrust. Up next, we have the gossip. These individuals thrive on sharing information about others, often information that is private, unverified, or downright malicious. They might present themselves as being in the know or just sharing news, but the underlying current is often about creating drama, gaining a sense of importance, or sometimes even subtly undermining others. They are the purveyors of rumors, the whisperers in corners, and the ones who always seem to have a juicy tidbit to share, regardless of its truth or the potential harm it could cause to someone's reputation or relationships. The energy drain from the gossip is significant because they erode trust and create a toxic environment. When you're around a known gossip, you might find yourself wondering what they're saying about when you're not there. It fosters suspicion and division among peers, colleagues, or friends. Engaging with them, even just by listening, can make you feel complicit or dirty. You expend energy trying to discern truth from fiction, worrying about the impact of their words, or navigating the awkwardness they create. So they poison the well of social interaction, making it harder to form genuine, trusting connections because there's always that undercurrent of who's saying what about whom. Chapter 7, the victim, always blameless, always suffering. Let's talk about the victim. This is the person who, no matter what happens, always sees themselves as the aggrieved party, the one who is wronged, misunderstood, or unfairly treated by life circumstances or other people. They have a remarkable inability to see their own role in their misfortunes and are quick to assign blame elsewhere. Life, in their view, is something that them, and it's usually not good. They often recount tales of woe and injustice, seeking sympathy and validation for their perceived suffering. But rarely do they take proactive steps to change their situation or accept any personal responsibility. The energy drain from the victim is profound because you often get pulled into a cycle of trying to help, console, or offer solutions, only to find that they're not really interested in changing. They seem to derive a certain identity or attention from their victimhood. Listening to their endless litany of complaints and perceived injustices can be emotionally exhausting. You might feel frustrated by their passivity or their refusal to acknowledge their own agency. It's like pouring your energy into a bottomless pit of self-pity. You want to be empathetic, but there's a point where their constant narrative of helplessness becomes a heavy burden for those around them, leaving you feeling drained and perhaps even a little guilty for not being able to fix their perpetual unhappiness. Chapter 8. The manipulator, the master of hidden agendas. Last, but certainly not least, we have the manipulator. Now, these individuals are particularly insidious because their tactics are often subtle, deceptive, and designed to get you to do or think what want, usually at your own expense or without your full conscious awareness of their true motives. They are skilled at playing on emotions, using guilt trips, flattery, or misdirection to achieve their aims. They might twist words, withhold information, or create scenarios where you feel obligated or pressured to comply with their wishes. It's all about control, but it's a more covert and often more damaging form of control than the overt control freak. The energy drain from the manipulator is immense because you're constantly trying to decipher their true intentions and protect yourself from being exploited. Interactions with them can leave you feeling confused, used, or doubting your own judgment. You might agree to things you don't want to do or find yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable. All because they've skillfully maneuvered you there. This constant vigilance and the emotional fallout from being manipulated are incredibly taxing. They erode your trust in others and can even make you question your own perceptions. Dealing with a manipulator requires a sharp mind and strong boundaries because they are experts at finding and exploiting vulnerabilities for their own gain. So, there you have it. 8 types of people whose behaviors can seriously drain your precious energy. Recognizing these patterns is the absolute first step, and a giant one at that, towards protecting your peace and reclaiming your power. It's not about judging these individuals because often they're operating from their own unhealed places or learned behaviors. And this is a big but, that doesn't mean you have to let their patterns dictate your well-being. You have a right to set boundaries, to limit interactions, or even in some cases, to lovingly detach from relationships that consistently leave you feeling depleted and worse off. Remember, your energy is your life force. It's what fuels your dreams, your passions, your joy, and your ability to show up in the world as your best self. When you allow others to constantly siphon it away, you're shortchanging yourself and your potential. Learning to identify these draining dynamics empowers you to make conscious choices. Maybe it's about having a direct conversation, maybe it's about creating more space, or maybe it's about strengthening your own internal resilience so the behavior doesn't knock you off your center. The key is awareness and intentional action. You're not helpless in this. Take some time to reflect on the relationships in your own life. Do any of these descriptions ring a bell? If so, what's one small step you can take this week to protect your energy? It could be as simple as not engaging in a gossip session or saying no to an overcommitter's request if you know it will stretch you too thin. You've got this. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. See you next time.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Always Mabel Canada and click the notification bell to get notified every time we upload all the amazing videos. See you next time.